As Nottingham Forest drew 2 apiece with Everton, we really have to ask ourselves the question, why were we so defensive? Should we have beaten Everton? Let's get into the video and find out what happened behind the scenes with the tactics. Welcome to your in-depth analysis. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to your in-depth analysis for Nottingham Forest, should I say, 2 and Everton 2. In today's video, we're going to have a look at the usual stuff you guys love, the heat maps, the average player positions. We'll talk through a couple of the goals, and we'll round up as after this video, we will start looking ahead to the Spurs match this weekend, and that becomes bigger and bigger. Will our away form hold up? Guys, before we start, we've got some fantastic news on the channel, something I'm really excited about. I've been scouring and looking for deals that we can get for you guys that are Forest related, and we currently have this fantastic deal for you guys with our good friends footballprizes.co.uk. So check this out. You can go and win this signed shirt with the likes of Cooper, Jono, Yatesy, Hendo, to name but a few, as options on all of them, and it only costs you $3.95. Let me show you quickly how you can win this. How would you like to win this season's Nottingham Forest home shirt signed by the likes of Cooper, Jono, Yatesy, Hendo, just to name but a few? We've teamed up with our friends at footballprizes.co.uk where you can win this. Tickets only cost £3.95. All you need to do is click on the link in the description, go down and answer this simple question. I'll give you a clue. The answer's Cooper. Select the amount of tickets you would like, register yourself onto the site, and then check out your order. There's only 125 tickets up for sale, so get in now before they sell out. The winner will be drawn live on Facebook. Once you've won the prize, send me in your picture so I can see you with the beautiful Garibaldi red. So make sure you enter that for $3.95. There's only 125 tickets available. You stand a huge chance and you can buy as many tickets as you want. And if you win, I want to see you holding up that beautiful shirt. So WhatsApp me your pictures. All right, let's get into this and let's start by talking about the heat maps and the average player positions. Okay, so let's have a look at the average player positions, and this is quite an interesting setup. I've got Forest team and the Everton team side by side. Obviously, we're attacking that way, they're attacking this way. The first thing that stands out to me is how high Nottingham Forest line is, and I actually really like this. Now, you got to understand that the line really wasn't this high. This happened because we were chasing the game a couple of times. This, for me, though, is a better line in general when you watch on what's coming. So I quite like that. And I also like the gap now between the two centre-backs. As I've shown you many times in previous videos, you had Worrell's average position. In fact, it was a lot deeper than that and a lot wider. Usually it ends up there. Now you can see there is a little cohesion between Worrell and Felipe. Now, I think they both didn't have a great first half, if I'm being honest, at fault for a couple of the goals, both of them. Well, one of the goals, should I say. We'll get into that in a bit. But there has been, and I'm being positive about this, there has been definitely some signs of showing an improvement positionally in terms of where Worrell is playing. Obviously, Felipe is in a perfect position. He has been pretty much every game so far this season, averagely. But what I want to show you here is clearly the Forest tactics. I spoke about them before the match, and it was obvious to see is Brennan Johnson. Look how high he is up this pitch and how wide he is as well. The only thing I don't like about this, I don't like the average space. If you look here, all this space and the distance from the back to the front is quite a lot. You kind of want to see players and your whole team move up and down as a unit when they do attack and they do defend. So he seems to be very disconnected from the rest of the players. I mean, he was doing a lot of the work on his own. Now match that across to the Everton team. And what you'll see is, because we've got this huge space here down the left-hand side where, as I complain about many times, we don't do much attacking. You can see here that Everton just allowed themselves the freedom and the space to push up their right back as much as possible without the risk really of being attacked down this left-hand side or their right-hand side. But what you can see is we had to hold back these, well, should I say Jono held back these two players pretty much by himself because they were so scared of the threat, and rightly so, that he could offer. So that's the first observation. The other observation I want to make is this whole Wood holding hands with MGW thing. I am now convinced that MG is being choked and secluded and brought down by Wood playing. Wood is not giving him what he needs. MG needs players around him that are dynamic, that have pace, that move around. And Wood playing there is hindering rather than helping the whole process. Hence why I thought, even though I hate it, a false 9 at the weekend would have been a lot better. Why? Because it would have given us another option here on the pitch. What you're finding is that MG is very, very limited to who he can link his play with. And the fact that there's no one on the left-hand side means that he's always going to naturally look for that Jono play there. And it's just a bit too one-dimensional. It really is. Now, we are so lucky that Jono is so talented that down that right-hand side, he can cause the problems. But this is why I was thinking here, if you had a Scarpa or you had a Dennis, someone like that who can give that second option for MG rather than Chris Wood, who ends up doing nothing here. Neither does he help either. He just ends up getting in the way, if anything, I would say. But having said that, I'll give him credit. He did lay off a nice pass to MGW. It's pretty much all I saw him do the whole match. But that was the lineup in terms of the attack. Now, in terms of the three, you can see that Freuler and Shelvey end up playing down this right-hand channel. You actually saw a lot of the time that Shelvey would come in behind Aurier to cover that space there. Now this, some people said it wasn't the right play, etc. You don't mind it if you're releasing Aurier down the wing there to cause a bit more havoc. And what it does, it stops Worrell from wandering out here and then leaving that huge gap in the middle there. So in a way, it kind of makes sense. They are too close to each other. I think they're too similar in terms of playing style. And I would say you need one rather than the other. At the moment, I'm leaning more towards Shelvey. Now, Colback was playing the highest out of the three on average. And you can see Lodi wasn't as high up as Aurier. So again, it just emphasizes the point I'm making that on average, most of our attacks were coming down that right-hand channel. You can see what Everton were trying to do. They were trying to compact the middle of the pitch there, getting most of their bodies in that half as well. So you can see in that middle third, they've got most of their players. The other thing I'd say is, look, although we were playing a higher line, yeah, it's still too many players in our own half. Again, if you count it on average, it's all of these guys here. The midfield isn't connecting the play into the attack. And that's why it felt very low blocky football, because on average, they spent most of the time in our half. And there's just not that connection forward. Contrast that with the Everton players. We've only got 3 players who averaged into their half. For them, they've got 2, 4, 6 players. And this is Everton, who are 18th in the league. And that was part of the problem. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the heat maps, and I'll show you what I was talking about with Worrell. If you have a look at Worrell, you can see very clearly he's actually positioning himself a lot better into the middle of the pitch, which is really good to see. The problem with Worrell still is mistakes. Mistakes still are his biggest issue now, but he has improved on that, so I'm glad to see that's happening. I still will bring the Akate in once he's fit, but look how much better that is. And if you have a look at it, the main reason being, if we switch it here, you can see that Shelvey was operating more on the right hand side, giving that protection, because when we look at Aurier, he was still playing down that channel. So over that right hand side, it was a lot better blocked. You can tell that Cooper probably told Shelvey he has to play in that position to protect. And then if I bring Freuler in as well, he was kind of a bit all over the place, but his darkest areas again were the middle to the right. So if you overlay that with Shelvey, you can see the domination there across the right-hand side. So it's clear to see that even Cooper's understanding that the problems are that right-hand channel. And you can see Felipe, beautiful, perfect map. Again, though, I will reiterate, it wasn't his best match. So if the heat maps looked better, and if the positional play of the likes of Worrell, etc., and Shelvey covering Aurier were good as well, why the hell did we end up losing? Well, not I say losing, drawing. It feels like a loss. And that comes down to individual mistakes. And these individual mistakes are the ones that are not being cut out from the team. There's always someone or two players that seem to do a cataclysmic error that causes us to concede goals. So we're going to quickly have a look at the goals and go through those mistakes. It's really good to see positionally they were a bit better. You could argue it's because of the context of the game or not, but either way, I don't care. It was nice to see a slightly higher line, and it was nice to see Worrell's position so much better. But let's quickly get into the goals, and we'll have just a couple of key highlights from them. All right, so let's have a quick look at the penalty incident for, not Leicester, what they call, no, that's the ref, Leicester, for Everton. I just want to show some signs of improvement. Again, I am praising him a bit, to be honest, but he did make some horrific mistakes in the game, but it's good to see there's some improvement. Look, the ball is over here. It's flown across to the right-hand side. Normally, Worrell would just be following and tracking the vision of the ball, but look at actually what he's doing. He's sizing up who the Everton players are to the left of him, the non-ball side of him, which is good to see. In fact, he goes a step further here. On this next sequence, you can see here his arm is pointing and he's telling Freuler and the likes who they're picking up. So there's a bit more communication. That's an improvement. It really is. So maybe there is hope yet. Anyway, this is the ball coming out to the right-hand side and everyone's kind of flooding back in towards the goal line. And this is the position that it sets up in as the cross is going to come. So what you're going to have here, you're going to have Freuler against Doucouré, and then you're going to have Aurier against, I forgot the guy's name, whatever his name is. Anyway, ball comes in and Freuler just gets under his man. In fact, he's not even challenging Doucouré. Doucouré, is quite tall. Freuler doesn't even bother to challenge him. Aurier is okay there. He's covered in the Everton player. And because Freuler hasn't committed and got himself in, the header then comes across here. And again, the same things happen. The same as look at Colback. He gets completely out-jumped by the Everton midfielder there. And he doesn't get to win the ball. It's just, where's the physicality? Where's the presence in your own box to get on the ball? And he just out-jumps Colback completely on that one. Anyway, then the ball ricochets all over the place. Worrell gets a bit of a challenge here. And then the ball bounces back across. Now, this is where it gets stupid, right? This is where, even at my under-12s level, you tell them to shout, mine, or got it, or whatever their name is, will shout it, yeah? Just so that one of you goes for it, not two of you. It's the most schoolboy error in football. It's comical. Because look what Freuler and Colback end up doing. Bang, they go into the ball together. It almost looks like Freuler is tackling Colback in this situation, the way he's gone in for it. I don't actually know what Freuler's trying to do, even by getting the ball. I think he's going to punt it against Colback to then punt it forward. Had he done that, it would have probably cleared further than the terrible, pathetic clearance that Colback does. He's literally just going to roll the ball here. That's all that's going to happen. And why, I'll give him a little bit of leniency on this because he's about to be tackled by his own player. He must be thinking, what the hell is going on here? So I don't know what was happening there. The ball comes out there. Now, Colback does react, but you can see the Everton player is quicker to react than everyone else, and Shelvey's suddenly just staring at that one thinking what's going on. Now, again, there is no need for Shelvey to get involved in this because as it comes through, you can see here, this is the point. Look how far he is when he goes to lunge in on the tackle anyway. But there's nothing he can really do there. If you look at it, he's marked, he's covered by two, he's covered by Aurier. MG may be the wrong side, so Gray here is probably the easiest pass available, but then you could argue Felipe could come out and close him down, so it wouldn't be a massive issue. There is no need for this panic from Shelvey. There's no need at all, and he's tackling from the wrong side. And to be honest, Colback's probably going to come in here and just do his usual stand off it kind of thing, so he wouldn't be able to shoot or score. And then there comes the tackle. It is a penalty in my opinion. I know it's split the fan base. I never really like saying anything's a penalty against Forest. But when you zoom in on it here, you can see the contact is clear to be seen. He hasn't got the ball. His leg's gone across. Of course, he's left his foot in. But that's what footballers do. You have to expect that to happen. So if you're going to come in from the wrong side and tackle, you damn well better make sure you get some of the ball. The point of the tackle is pointless anyway, because the ball would end up, from the angle he's tackling it, going back in towards our own goal. He should have left it for Colback to meet him, and then he should have covered Colback, not lunge in like that. The whole sequence is completely comical in terms of the errors that are being made. Okay, so let's move on to the good stuff. I want to be positive, man. Let's talk about this. And this is a fantastic goal, and it's all made in MGW heaven. It really is. He is going to go between the lines off the bat, which is fantastic to see. You can see the Everton line there and the Everton line there where MGW is. What's he going to do? He's going to drop into the pocket. Exactly the kind of play you want to see from a little boy genius like that. So we move it forward. Colback puts the pass in. Because he's gone into the pocket, you can suddenly see here, that's a terrible line. There's a lot of space in behind him and in front of him. This is MGW heaven right now. If you circle around him, that radius there, you don't give him that kind of space to operate in. He gets the ball in, turns on a dime, and now he's got more space in front of him. Now, the problem from Everton's point of view was the defender should have gone and closed him, or what's his face? Garner should have gone in across to close him like that. If the defender had gone in to close him, then Garner needed to go in behind him to cover him off there. Neither thing happened. And what they end up doing is all panicking. Oh crap, what did I just press? All panicking. And as we run it forward, he comes across to them. And there's only a little space here for him to play the ball. And what he does, he has this lovely little like slow fake shot that he does where he takes this huge step towards it. Either he cuts in with it or he passes with it. It's quite hard for the opposition to read it. And it's lovely to see. But he's going to play that ball into Wood. And actually, credit to Wood. The layoff Wood does is brilliant. But just before we get to that, watch what MGW does. Instead of just admiring the beautiful pass he's made, he's now come blindside of the defender, purposely no doubt, coming behind him so he can't track his run. Defender's now watching the ball, and that leaves it down to Wood. Can Wood produce the layoff? He does. Not only does he produce it, but he weights it very, very nicely. And then what you can see here is Everton start to ball watch. They have a lot of ball watching problems themselves. He is watching here when he should be looking at the boy wonder right there, Jono. Now, what Jono has and why the position on the right side works really well for Jono is he should always be able to see where that defensive line is and keep himself onside. And this is going to be very similar to the goal we scored at Goodison, where Yates took the shot from the edge of the box and Prickford carried it. And what you're going to see is rinse and repeat from Prickford as he can't handle the shot. MGW hits the shot there, just on the edge of the box. Prickford's in a good position, but you don't give MGW that kind of corridor to hit because he's going to find the target. Well, his finishing does need a little improving. MGW, if you're watching, just aim higher in top bins. Anyway, he takes a shot, Prickford carries it, and Boy Wonder is not going to miss from 6 yards out. Open goal, very nice, very simple. All that created because MGW went between the lines to receive the ball, turned, and then because they're scared of him, they backed off him and didn't go forward. Fantastic goal. Really good movement. And credit to Wood for laying it off in the manner he did. As you can see in the picture behind me, he hasn't moved too far after laying it off, but that's his style of play. So great goal. Let's go on to the calamity. All right, so let's have a quick look at the Everton second goal. And it's, again, schoolboy mistakes all over the place. And it starts with Felipe. If you look at Felipe, the ball has kind of been punted by Pickford up the pitch. And Felipe is just way too underneath the ball right now. He's not in a correct position. And because of that, that's what causes him to be unable to jump and attack the ball. Because when you see it here, he's too underneath it. And when it comes to the actual contact of the ball, I mean, he's nowhere even close. I don't know if you guys can quite see the ball's there. It's just been headed across. So the first mistake is Felipe, completely at fault for getting under the ball, misreading the flight of it, or whatever you want to say. But just run it back a second because I wanted you to kind of keep an eye on the other sequence that's happening here as well. If you look at it here, unfortunately, I want to just point out Joe Worrell here in this sequence against their number 5 there. He knows his man's there. He's looking at him again. He's showing that he's looking around this game. It's a lot better. But what he does next is quite unusual. Instead of tracking the runner, he widens the gap between himself and his runner, and you'll see here the gap gets huge. He's not on top of him, he's not goal side of him. And then he ends up rounding his run. As the ball is now coming across here, you can see the ball is there. Now he's almost going to have to try and make up the gap and jump and try to get some contact on as well. The other problem is Shelvey's about to be underneath the ball, a bit similar to what happened to Felipe. And when you run this through to where they impact with the ball, you can see neither of them are close. Worrell does this attempted dive up to get the ball. Shelvey's almost turning his back on it because he's worried about the Everton player falling on him. And it ends up a very easy header to the Everton player. Now, roll that into the next problem as well. And this is the big problem, is Freuler. Freuler is wrong side of his man. Again, under 12s, goal side of your man. He's completely in the wrong place. You could argue he's been left with two men to mark because now Worrell, when he got out of position and dropped his man, could have potentially covered here on, I think it's that Gray there, number 11. But anyway, either way, Freuler's completely out of position and needs to be goal side. Either he drops here a bit so he can cover both players, so he can attack the ball rather than backpedaling towards it, or he needs to be more here to cover them from the goal side position. Either way, he's in the worst position he could be in. And as you can see, now the ball here is about to drop down. He's just trying to wrestle Doucouré. He's got no other option because he's already got his knees bent. He's not trying to jump. He's got his like T-Rex arms going out like this, man. And then suddenly, even when the ball comes to Doucouré, he just ends up still trying to push him. You can see at no attempt as he tried to jump up and challenge in the air. And then to be honest, I think Navas could have saved it. It wasn't the cleanest header. And when you look at where it passes him, it's just by his foot. Maybe the space from the header to the shot was too close. But overall, you got Felipe in the wrong, Shelvey in the wrong there, Joe Worrell in the wrong there. I mean, I don't want to make this video too long. Like, Joe Worrell was holding a deeper line when the actual ball flied in from Pickford anyway. And then you got Freuler, who was appalling in that goal as well. Let's move on again to the boy wonder, though. All right, so let's cover the thunderbolt that comes from Jono's foot. It's actually a really interesting goal. We've had a free kick. I think Shelvey had taken it in. It had been cleared. And this is what I love. The first part of this goal is one of my favorite bits, and it's Felipe here. Felipe defending high up. Okay, it's a little higher than you would like, but obviously we're just coming back. They're about to start a counter-attack because we were on the attack. What I like again is Joe Worrell reads it and he's going to come in behind Felipe there to cover because he knows Felipe's potentially going in for it. In goes Felipe, gets the block. You can see Worrell has moved into a lovely position there. And there's Jono waiting for the ball. Now the ball breaks very nicely to him, but he drops his shoulders and he turns the defender. And that's what works nicely. Now, what I'll say is Yates was brilliant when he came on. There was a definite energy that came with him. And it's good to see him back. And you could see like the pace of the play was so much different once Yates was on to the likes of Freuler being on there as well. What Yates needs to cut out, though, is this instant asking for the ball to be passed to him. Jono gets the ball and you can see Yates is starting to ask for it. And then in the next sequence, he's kind of turned and he's still asking for it. What I would have preferred personally, but who cares? The goal came through, is that Yates would have just pulled himself out a little bit there. What does happen is because of the skill of Jono, the way he cut in and dragged the defender with him, it's naturally going to create that space out wide for Yatesy, which is exactly what Jono is going to use in a second. So when we run this forward, you can see here, Yates hasn't really progressed forward, but because Jono's dragged the defender with him, it's created Yatesy that space. So it has worked out quite nicely. Jono's going to play it out wide towards Yates. And then what I love about what Yates does here is his whole body setup is set up as if he's going to whip one into the back post here. Now, he could have done that and it would have worked because Dennis, you can see, is completely free there. But the fact that he disguises it adds that little je ne sais quoi to it. And he's going to obviously, as we know, play it into this channel and cut it through to Jono. So when we run this forward, bang, in comes the ball. Now, if you're an Everton fan watching this, your first question is probably going to be, what the hell are these two doing so deep? Why haven't they reacted and moved forward to close in this space? You are not going to give Jono that kind of space in the box. And what's even better about this is showing Jono's progression from where he was pre-World Cup to where he was just after World Cup to where he is now. Jono has never been a 5-star weak footer. If you're a FIFA player, you'll know what I mean. He's about a 3-starer. His weak foot isn't his strongest attribute, nor his heading. Those are the two weaknesses to his game, potentially. But he is so confident that he doesn't even try to shift this onto his right foot, his stronger foot. He's going to open it up onto his left foot. And at no stage does he even bother to look where Pickford is, that little Prickford, because he knows if he's going to hit this sweetly, it's going in irregardless of where the keeper is. Now, Prickford is completely gifting Jono this side of the box. I don't know why he's so far across there. And then I just love the shot. The shot finessed into the top corner. How do you know a shot is a good one? Because when this happens with the keeper, when that Prickford is just staring at the ball going into the back of the net, completely flat-footed, completely unmoved, you know Jono's hit that sweet as a nut. And it was a fantastic goal, both from Felipe, from Jono, from Yatesy with the pass. Would have liked him to position himself and not ask for the ball too much in that position. But he's still rusty. He'll be fine when he comes back and is fully fit. And the finish was sublime. It really was. A lot has been said about the referee, and the referee was absolutely shocking and appalling. I do agree. There were so many calls where you're like, bruh, blow your whistle. And he didn't. However, we cannot hide behind the refereeing decisions. We really can't. There is no excuses. Look, MG Dub was fouled on the second Everton goal, no doubt about it. But that poor ref call wasn't the reason why Felipe didn't header the ball, why Worrell got under the ball, and why Freuler was so poor in that challenge. Those have to be, taken into account. We are improving positionally. It's the mistakes, and these mistakes have haunted us all season. We have to cut them out. I've got a real strong feeling about this Spurs game at the weekend. It will be the most Foresty thing to do to go and win away at Spurs. I've just got a feeling. Yes, I know my brother supports Spurs and I hate their guts. Maybe that's clouding my judgment, but I've just got a feeling. Look, this has been a bit longer than I wanted. I got a lot of work to do, so apologies if I've kept you guys here for so long. Please go and get yourself your tickets. There's only 125 available, so the chances of you winning are fantastic. And those signed names, how much are they going to be worth down the line? Who knows once Jono is this world famous superstar of a footballer? You will have his signature on your shirt. Go grab yourself a ticket. You don't need to just get one or two. You can get as many as you want. Hope you've enjoyed the video. It's been a long one. Please don't forget before you leave to hit the like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We'll see you on the next video. And come on, you Reds.